Today we're going to be pondering the question, are studio vlogs getting stale? Kelsey, thoughts?
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay.
Hi there, and welcome to yet another episode of the Make Art Don't Starve podcast. I'm your host, Kelsey.
And I'm your other host, Al, and today we're going to be pondering the question, are studio vlogs getting stale? Kelsey, thoughts?
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay.
I mean, they're getting a little bit stale. I think we'll talk about this later, but I think art YouTube in general is getting a little bit stale, in my opinion, just because, like, it feels too samey right now. Like, a lot of art vlogs just follow the same general formula, and I wish there was more innovation happening. I wish there was more, like, unique storytelling going on, and my big gripe with studio vlogs as they stand right now is that a lot of them don't really have, like, a good overarching purpose or storytelling. It feels more like you slapped a bunch of, like, footage together that you recorded over the past, like, 6 weeks and, like, added a voiceover, and, like, now here we are. And, like, I'm guilty of this. Like, my most recent video was, like, basically that. Right. And I wish that, like, I wish that it wasn't. I wish that I felt more comfortable branching out and really experimenting and, like, making, like, really cool, unique stuff. But it's not really happening right now in the community, and, like, maybe I just need to, like, put my big girl pants on and, like, just get shit done and, like, make the thing that I want to make. Yeah, right now it feels a little bit too aesthetic, too overproduced, and it's like, that's all well and good, but I think people really want to see you and, like, the realness of it. They want, like, the actual, like, true lived experience. They don't want you to have, like, a bunch of makeup on and to, like, clean your studio beforehand and to, like, light every shot perfectly. They want just, like, what it's like to be you instead of all of this pretty stuff that could have been a movie. I kind of want to start making things that feel extremely authentic. I don't know if you watch, like, Emma Chamberlain, but, like, Emma Chamberlain's work before she took this past break was really casual. It was just, like, recorded on, like, this shitty camera. She, like, would fart, like, on camera and then just keep that in the edit.
Oh my god.
And then it would just, like, cut. And, like, that's the kind of, like, spirit, like, maybe not exactly that, but, like, that kind of just, like, real attitude, like, that just pure authenticity is really, like, what I would love to see more of in art YouTube and in the art vlogs in general. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. You made the point about, like, experimentation, and I slightly disagree with that, and I do agree with what you said about authenticity, because I feel like, for me, I would love for vlogs to be, like, less produced and be about, like, I want them to be, like, at least for me when I make them, I want it to be not a low effort video, but I don't want it to be a movie, right? Like, I don't want it to be a video, and I think that goes with kind of you were talking about, like, doing something new and doing something different. I like studio vlogs being something comforting, but there are a lot of things that, with that comfort, there's a lot of staleness that comes with that I really don't love. I feel like a lot of, they do follow a formula, they get really repetitive. And because of that, I very rarely watch studio vlogs. There are very few people who I watched their vlogs. Yeah. I would love to support every artist who does that, but they are kind of the same. I remember years ago, this is one thing that I literally hated. I would tell anyone who would ask about it, I'd be like, oh my god.
Ooh, tea alert.
I mean, it's like so stupid, but it angered me so much. Everyone would open their vlogs with, like, starting my day by answering some emails, and it would be like a 45 to, like, 90-second clip of just typing sounds, not even a lo-fi beat. And I was like, bestie, I don't care. Like, everyone was definitely following, like, a formula, which I understand. Like, there is, like, I have my own formula for vlogs, and maybe it is the same as other people, I don't know. But it feels like kind of you watch someone's vlog and it's, like, the same every time. And so I don't really watch them that often, because they feel, like you said, samey is a great word for it. And because of that, I think people who rely on studio vlogs as their main content, they are the worst offenders, because they'll do it, like, every week, every other week. And I truly don't believe that any person, this is not to be rude, I don't believe any person, no matter how successful their business, has a life interesting enough that you're going to make an interesting, long enough, quality vlog that is not the exact same as last week's every week. No one can do it. And so, like, I do it once
unless
a month.
You're, like, actually, like, traveling the world and, like, truly just, like, being followed by a film crew 24/7. Like, how?
Yeah, literally. It's
we all
crazy.
know, like, we're artists. I guarantee you, like, we stay in our apartment, like, doing our little art thing at our little desk, like drawing on our little iPad or like, you know, sketching our sketchbook. And it's like, I know that the highlight of your week is going to the post office or getting packages or like getting your little cute coffee like one time a week and like drawing in the cafe, and like that is repetitive, and that's okay. Like the monotony of life is fine. It's like a little slice of life anime, but like you need to have some variety. Like I want you to film stuff that's special.
Another thing that I really dislike about studio vlogs is, like, for me personally, I don't know if TikTok ruined my attention span, but I am the kind of person who I need multiple levels of stimulation. Like I need to be doing multiple things at once. And for a video, if you're going to put a clip with like absolutely no sound or absolutely no visual to it, like I need both. I need audio and a visual that is interesting and both keep me engaged. Otherwise I feel bad about this too, but I'm the kind of person who will open up a video and will immediately start looking for the next one. And the second I find a better one to watch, I'll click on it, because so many vlogs
no.
I hate doing it. Do you do that?
No, I don't do that.
Oh, I do that because so many vlogs, they're the same. Like I'll just be like desperately looking for something to watch, and I'll watch a vlog and I'll already know, like from the beginning, I'll already know like this isn't something that I want to watch. Like this is not something that's going to engage my attention. But I'll listen to it while I look for something better to watch, because like I'll open a vlog and it'll start the exact same. It'll start the exact same every time, and I'll be like, and I feel mean. It feels really mean. But like sometimes I just like I don't care to like watch like the exact same vlog over and over again. And then
no, that's valid. Sorry, my cat he's here. Look at you.
Hello, kitty.
As soon as we started recording, he was like, I think I should be on your desk right now, actually.
That's always that.
I'm not that way at all. I watch a video from start to finish. Like if I'm gonna commit, I'm gonna commit. I have YouTube Premium, so I don't have to worry about ads or anything, which is like a great choice. Like I hated ads on YouTube so much, and now I just never have to deal with them anymore, so that was a great business expense. But I am totally not like that. Like I'll queue stuff up, but I prefer longer videos to shorter ones, like 9 times out of 10.
Right.
So I'll add a bunch of like shorter videos to my queue and then just like watch them all start to finish. I'm like not the kind of person that clicks off of a video part of the way through, like most of the time.
Wow. I honestly didn't know people like that existed, where you like almost always watch a video all the way through, because I don't, it's not that I like want to be rude or unsupportive. It's just like I'll click on a video, like the thumbnail will look really good, and then I'll start watching, I'll be like, this quality is not what I was promised. You know what I mean? And like just trying to like find new people, and I don't know. I also don't, like, I don't know, like I do and don't watch art YouTube, and like because I do that a lot, because a lot of videos don't hold my attention, but I also like I do that with regular videos too. Like maybe I'm just in a phase where I don't like YouTube. That's also possible. And my last point that is also mean. This is also mean, and it's gatekeeping, and I want to preface this point by saying I understand and I know that it's kind of problematic of me to think this. It's not. It is gatekeeping, but
I'm so looking forward to hearing this.
Personally, this is a total personal thing too. When I watch a vlog, like specifically a vlog, I want to see that from people that I can aspire to or look up to. They're further along in their career than me. And like when people kind of start, like there needs to be enough art content, and a lot of people, I don't want to like say any specific example because I think no matter what that'll be mean, but if you like are just kind of starting your art career and you only do like, to do that, you only maybe post on Instagram a few times a week, and you do art for a couple hours a week, like that is not enough for me to like relate to you as an artist or to look up to you as an artist for me to find a vlog interesting. Do you know what I mean? So like Lee is great because all of her content is about art and art business, and I look up to her and I want to be like her, and I want my business to be like hers, and so all of that content is relevant to that, and it's something that I can find interesting. But like for people who are really young along in that journey, like very early on in that journey, there's probably not a lot that I can learn, not necessarily learn from you, but like look up to, if that makes sense.
I get that. I actually agree. I don't really watch vlogs people who are like 2 steps behind me. Yeah, I watch vlogs of people who are like 1 step ahead of me, or like 5 steps ahead of me, or like at least at the same level. Like everyone's business is structured differently, but for me, like I want to see like aspirational stuff. Yeah, I get that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or at least like if you're not full time, I want your art to be like a few levels above mine, so I can really like learn something. I think that's not problematic. I also agree. Like you have to be making art in the vlog, like. Like, art has to be happening. It has to be, like, predominantly art focused. I don't like vlogs, specifically ones that brand themselves as art vlogs that don't actually include a lot of art. If you're just posting, like, a thing that you branded as just, like, a regular vlog, that's fine. Like, include, like, however much random footage that you want. But I want there to be some amount of the creative process in there. And I also don't love if it's, like, super sugar-coated. I want it to be really authentic and genuine. Like, I want you to, like, tell me, like, how you're actually doing, because I know that people aren't, like, intending to be, like, toxic and, like, toxic positivity,
right? For sure.
But
yeah,
when it's like all you're seeing is like, my life is so great and like everything is fine, it's like, no, it's not. Like, sure. Liar, what the fuck?
Yeah I agree.
Like, yeah, I mean, I've I guess been feeling more like this lately just because a lot of the comments that I've been getting on YouTube, like, I've been getting a higher percentage of hate comments ever since I started, like, getting more of an audience. He's scratching his scratching post right now, sorry. Ever since I started developing more of an audience, I started to get more hate comments, like, at a much faster or, like, increased rate than usual. Right. And it kind of, like, affected me in, like, a weird way that I don't, like, want to read comments as much anymore. So, like, I'm not actually feeling like, wow, this is, like, super great, and, like, I love this, and, like, everyone should want to be like this. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like you have to be really in the right headspace to want to have, like, art YouTube specifically to be your job. And, like, also, like, everybody's a critic. It's so easy to, like, give a hate comment or something that lives in the person's head rent-free for, like, the rest of time. But I don't like when people, like, gloss over the not so great parts of the job. Like, being an art YouTuber is awesome. It's like, genuinely, it's an amazing job. I'm so grateful to have it. But, like, it does have its downsides for sure. Like, and I feel like it's bad to just be, like, not saying that or something. I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
Can I go off on a really quick side tangent? That's not really related to the episode. I've been thinking about that too. Because I just, like, filmed some stuff for my September vlog, and it was about talking about some, like, not rough stuff, just, like, things aren't going the way that I want them to right now. Yeah. And I was having this really long discussion, like, with myself, like, with the camera about... And I have this conversation sometimes. People get mad, like, because this is what happens. I see it on TikTok all the time. And I think we, art YouTubers, are very, very different from just a regular influencer. I think that they're entirely different things. But people get like, mad.
Like, me and Jake Paul, that Venn diagram does not overlap.
Does not, no. But people get mad when people who have cushy jobs like us complain about them. And so I often feel really guilty, especially, like, I see my friends and my family doing much harder labor, like, physical labor, you know, like, harder jobs than me. And I feel really bad being like, oh no, I have to post a video. But, like, sometimes it does feel that way. And it also sucks, like... I won't say exactly this because that's the point that I made in my vlog, but sometimes I do feel bad being like, oh, you know, shucks, no one watched my video, but people did watch my video. That's kind of rude to say about the people who did watch my video just because it didn't get, you know, as many views as normal. And there's so many complicated feelings about like in authenticity, being authentic. It's, like, really hard to do, not even because it's like, oh, it's embarrassing to admit that I'm not doing well. But as in, like, there's so many complicating factors to it. But being on the side of, like, I've seen, you know, I felt when it doesn't do well. Seeing people just be like, everything's fine all the time and everything's perfect and this job is super easy. It is frustrating. It is really hard to see.
Yeah, it's, like, counteracting my lived experience because, like... yes, YouTube is an amazing job. Like, yes, it is not as physically demanding as, like, being a general contractor or, like, a plumber or something, for example. But, like, it's demanding in other ways. It's demanding, like, psychologically and emotionally. Because when you're creators like we are, every video feels like a referendum on your personality. You really have to just be, like, really comfortable with who you are. YouTube... will reveal any and all insecurities you could have ever thought that you may be even slightly possessed. I've gotten comments about my weight, like, all the time. I'm not, like, unhealthy. I work out. I go on, like, you know, 10+ mile hikes, like, every, like, you know, few weeks or something. But, like, getting those comments, especially, like, I think female creators get different comments than male creators, and I've talked to male creators and they, like, backed this up being like, I never get comments about my appearance, and, like, really, like, that's all I get comments about sometimes. It feels like, and that, like, wears on you, right? Like, you don't get that kind of constant feedback when you're working a construction site. You're not getting comments being like, wow, like, you've gained weight, what a big disappointment when you're working, like, a customer service job. No, that doesn't happen.
That's so funny that you say that, because I get a lot of unsolicited advice about literally everything in my life. I mentioned that I liked puzzles, and people, I got so many DMs, like I don't even know why people were DMing me about, well, watch this person, do this puzzle, like try it this way. You can't, like, why do you take apart your puzzles when you're done? And like any little thing in your life that you get a lot of unsolicited advice, and that's really weirdly wearing. That's some of the hardest, like for me, it's because I know people mean it with the best intentions, but not everything in my life has to be, you know what I mean? And I was telling my friend, like, imagine if every time you left your house, every single person that you walked by tried to tell you what to do or how to do it better, or that you don't look right, or that like commented on you and gave you advice or criticism. How weird that is. It's weirdly taxing, and most people mean it with the best intentions, and I don't want to be ungrateful for people interacting with my videos.
But like, also, like, keep your opinions to yourself. I don't want them. Like, did I ask?
I've sometimes explicitly said, like, hey, I'm not looking for advice on this, and people will be like, well, I'll give you advice anyways. And it's like, fine, like, I put my stuff out publicly on the internet, like, you're allowed to comment on that, that's what the internet is for. I can't police that. And so I've really tried to be like, not like understanding, and I don't think I've publicly like talked about this yet, but like that comparison of like, imagine if like in your regular job just everyone gave you feedback all the time.
Right.
It's like a weird thing to deal with. Like, I know that I am putting myself out there publicly on the internet, and that's part of that, but like, it's one thing to know that, and it's another thing to deal with that when you're getting told like, how dare you take apart your puzzle? Like, I didn't know this would be a problem. I didn't know that this would be something that people felt the need to comment on. It's a weird thing. It's really taxing, honestly.
It is, for sure. Yeah, I think people always want to say like, oh, the internet is mean, and like, you should be used to this by now. Like, why are you so sensitive? And it's like, why is it a weakness to want people to be nice? Like, why is that a bad thing? Why does that make me like less of a serious person? Why am I treated like a child for wanting basic human decency? Like, it doesn't, I don't know.
No, I
can already anticipate like the comments that I would get if I talked about this on my channel. I feel like my channel gets like more toxic comments than maybe like the podcast because it's like larger, of course. Like, but also because like, I don't know, I feel like I attract like a little bit of a different audience. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't feel like expecting and hoping the world is kind is like somehow like naive or something.
Yeah, I agree fully.
But yeah, anyway, I feel like videos that just depict the job as like awesome all the time, I can't relate to. That's just not my lived experience. And I wish that like videos were more authentic like that, and maybe that's just a sign that we should be the change that we want to see in the world. But anyway, I did actually ask people on my channel a few weeks ago what they thought of studio vlogs, the aspects that they didn't like, and I want to read a couple because I got so many really good ones. One actually from Blick, like Dick Blick, like the art supply company.
They, like, when did they stop being called Dick Blick? Because I call them Dick Blick all the time. When did that stop?
I do too. I think they just didn't like to have Dick in their name.
Lame.
Which, like, valid, but
no, not valid. That was a slay. Bring it back, Blick. Bring back the dick
back in Blick. Okay, right, gotcha. So I'll read the top ones. Demetra says, I started painting seriously in 2020, and I am self-taught, so my paintings are always average as I'm still a beginner. I love art vlogs, but they can end up having the opposite effect of what the artists expect to have. They seem to have everything figured out, and they work on their sketchbook, playing with materials and compositions, and everything goes so smooth. Yet they are always so anxious of failure, but after 30 minutes or so, they always produce an inspiring, clean masterpiece. It's inspiring, yet disheartening at the same time, to not be able to do that at home. My 30 minutes in the sketchbook is a constant struggle, thinking strategy and solving mistakes. At the end, my page is filled with an average-looking, constipated spread. I love that word of the...
Me too.
I love the use of constipated.
That's great.
Like, show us something you suck at for once so we can relate. Even though I love studio vlogs, I find them inspiring and truly fun. I need to keep reminding myself that the artist is 10 steps ahead of me and has tons of experience, whereas I'm still a student and needs to be patient. No, that's valid. Like, straight up.
Yeah, I think... I do want to add at the end, because it's going to relate to my point. I think that it's not the artist's fault. It's my problem because I subconsciously compare results and workflows. But a reminder from the artist during the vlog would be thoughtful. And I think that's a really great point, is that, because one thing, this is a fully valid point. I think that is a great point. And it's something that I'm going to continue, like, I'll think about and I'll take into my vlogs, is showing more struggles with art. I think that's a great idea. But one thing that, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, I'll call something a sketch because it's a sketch for me, and people will be like, that's a 2-hour piece for me. And I'm like, okay. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that is a weird, like, that's a whole other conversation. We can make a whole episode about that.
Right.
And that isn't something that the artist can control, but I think that is a really interesting thought about, like, yeah, I never thought that, especially for a casual type of video where it's just me showing you what my life is like, how frustrating it would be to see me, like, let me knock out a quick sketchbook spread with no issues. That could be
like,
really
always succeed. Everything always goes your way. Like, yeah, that would be frustrating. I think that, like,
just like we were talking about.
Yeah, like the narrative.
Yeah.
Like, I want storytelling. If you're really taking me, like, through a hero's journey scene or plot line, you have to have, like, some kind of conflict, right? Like, that's what makes stories interesting to humans. There has to be a conflict, like a point at your life where you failed, and you have to come back from that and, like, resolving that conflict, becoming a better person. And so at the start of your journey, you're a different person at the end of it comparatively. And I think, like, that's really what I want to see more. So totally valid, this comment.
Yeah,
like, I definitely agree that I wish people showed failure more and, like, overcoming that, because it's hard. Like, yeah, you are going to get comments about, like, I don't know. I can already imagine the comments that I would get if I posted, like, a video where I just talked about, like, me failing and, like, showed me, like, failing at pieces over and over again. I get comments a lot talking about how, like, I'm not a real artist or whatever, and, like, I'm sure people get those comments too, and, like, on every channel, but it's vulnerable to talk about failure for sure. I mean, like, making really personal YouTube videos in general is really vulnerable. It's a really vulnerable activity that contributes to, like psychological effects of, like, putting yourself out there so much as a job. And, like, monetizing your personality, essentially. But, yeah, I think that's necessary. I think, like, doing that vulnerable work to really, like, paint a more realistic picture is totally needed. But I also don't think that, like, I don't know. Like, if you want, like, a beginner to relate to, try and find a beginner.
Yeah, I would,
Like, I don't want to dumb myself down or, like, try and sabotage myself deliberately to really be relatable to you. Like, that's not necessarily my goal. I want to be relatable and honest, like, to me.
Yeah. And I think that person makes that point of, like, it's not the artist's fault, it's my problem. But I think that is something that a lot of, and I experience it too, like, I will watch them and I'll be like, well, that's not fair. And I think that is something that we all have to be a little bit aware of, is, like, it's on you to not compare yourself to people. And if you are looking for people who are on your skill level, like, look for those people. But I do think, like, the idea of, like, being more honest about, like, my artistic failures is definitely, because I've done that in doses before, but I think that would be a great topic to just, like, I don't have to shy away from it every time that happens, you know what I mean? I don't have to include it every time it happens. But I think that overall is a really great, I mean, this person summed it up absolutely perfectly from beginning to end. I think that's a great point. Wait, pause. I've been needing water for, like, so long.
Oh, yeah. If we're going to get water break, I'm going to get water break.
Yeah.
I want to read a couple more of these.
I see one. Can I say something really fast?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
my says less neatness. I don't trust a neat studio. I like when studios are dirty and messy because it means there's people working and experimenting there. I understand. I am a very neat person. I'm a clean and neat person. I'm clean as I go. And I totally get what you're saying, but I feel personally attacked because I have a clean studio because I'm a clean person.
I aspire to be a clean person. I'm, like, I was raised by someone who was, like, super clean. Like, my grandma's, like,
me too.
Really clean, like, super neat, like, wants everything to have a place. And, like, I grew up like that, but, like, and I aspire to be that. Like, I understand how good it is when that happens, but I am inherently a messy person. I'm organized, right, but I'm cluttered.
Right.
Sometimes so, like, right now, if I were to pan the camera, like, my desk has so much stuff on it. I have, like, these new panels from Treckle that I ordered that I need to, like, find a home for. Like, I don't have a place for everything yet. So my studio is just kind of messy. But I totally agree. Studio vlogs that, like, are super clean and aesthetic, it just, like, it feels, they're pretty. And there's a place for that for sure. But it does get a little bit stale when everyone's like that. I want there to be, like, a genre of, like, messy, realistic, farting on camera, Edward Chamberlain-inspired studio vlogs. Yeah. I think that would be so refreshing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to read a couple more of these. I Make That says, I think most vlogs don't worry about trimming down as much as they should. Some almost feel like they said, well, I have to do long format, so here's a lot of breaks, not much going on. And I think that's a good point. If you're going to do a 40-minute video, the 40 minutes needs to be consistently entertaining.
That's why I don't like long ones.
Yeah, you can't just leave in like that 90-second clip that you were talking about earlier, Al, of like just like typing sounds and like no music. That's not engaging. There's a reason that like Quentin reviews videos have like scene changes and like recurring bits to like his like 8-hour analysis of like iCarly, which like I love that series so much, which is why I talk about it all the time. Like there's a reason that works, you know what I mean? Like it's like constantly entertaining. There's no like dull period in the video. I think that like is why it works. If you're gonna do long format, you need to have a reason.
I think one really good example is of just like long in general, good or bad, like is Radia, Nice Meow. Very, very long. And I very rarely watch them because I don't trust long videos to a studio vlog specifically. Like you say that you love long, chunky studio vlogs. I don't, because like 20 to 30 minutes is like my sweet spot. Because anything longer than that, I genuinely don't trust to be consistently entertaining. There's a lot of, I've seen a few of Radia's, and there's a lot of beautiful stuff in it. And there's a lot of not entertaining stuff in it for me personally. And there will be those moments where I'll be like, should I click away? Should I find something more interesting? In any long vlog, not specifically Radia's. I don't know, like I think that people should trim down more. I know you like long vlogs. I think objective, like in my personal opinion,
I agree with you though. I totally agree with you though. Like I want long vlogs that are like edited like the way that I would edit my videos, like tightly edited, like concise. I want a reason for the video to be 40 minutes long, but like I still want it to be 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
I just like want there to be like a reason that it is that way. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
No, I fully understand. Like there needs to be a thesis to the video, and I'm fine with it being however that long, but I don't want all that extra filler fluff. And like sometimes that's good. I think for short videos, I think fluff is great because it adds that interest. But for long videos, fluff feels like a time waster. And like for me, again, me personally, I don't want to be like insulting anyone. But like I just think
this is all just our personal opinion.
Yes, exactly. I agree that vlogs should be trimmed more. I think that people do think like, oh, I've got to make this however, X amount of time. And so they'll just like fill it with whatever they can. But, people, you can make a short video. It's not the end of the world if you have like one upload that's like short. Think about maybe trimming some stuff.
I want to find a more like like controversial. Oh, here we go. Adrienne Lockridge says, kind of getting annoyed with the voiceovers. When it adds to the video because they're talking about supplies and their process or thought process, that's cool. But when it's random rambling, it bothers me. I love when you can hear the materials on the paper and the canvas, like pencils, pastels, palette knife, etc. Like when listening to Bob Ross paint. That's a good point. I never actually even thought about that. Like,
that is really interesting. I have a lot to say about this. So, one, this isn't to be rude. There are ASMR videos that sound like exactly what you're looking for, and they're amazing. Parafleur. 2, that is so interesting because Lee in a recent vlog said that she did like a poll and she was like, do you guys want voiceovers or no voiceovers, just pencil sounds? And people wanted voiceovers, and I agree because I get bored without it. And so one thing try to do, one thing, and I don't care what it's about, I need something to hold my attention. And one thing that I try to do is I try to do both. I'll have like the pencil sounds and do a voiceover, and every once in a while, especially with vlogs, I can't do a voiceover every time, and so I have been doing some without voiceovers, but I try to leave in those pencil sounds with the voiceover. Like that's so interesting. I did not think I would it sounds like this person might just prefer ASMR because I haven't met many people who would rather not have a voiceover because that adds so much engagement for you as the viewer/listener.
Right. Okay, here's a thought. Okay, you film like normal, right? But every couple of days you do a check-in. Okay, you start the check-in off like in the edit with your face, right? Like your face, but like you do like a higher quality mic than maybe normal. So it's like the same mic that you would use for voiceovers. Then as soon as you start talking about making art or your plans for the day, you cut to that. You don't tell us, you show us at the same time, and then you drag that audio over still so that like initial, talking head clip then becomes the voiceover, can lead us into like the rest of the thing. I have, and it's a good practice. I want to do it again. Oh, I need to like rediscover vlog editing. I haven't done it in forever.
That is a really good way. I think that's a really like polished way to do it, and it's also like that's why you just don't have to like sit down and do a voiceover. You can flip between the two, like you have extra footage to work with, and I think that's a great way to do it. But also on the flip side, like I fully agree. But to play devil's advocate, one thing that I will say. One thing that I will say about that is when you, and this is just a thought, I don't know if I believe this, does that make it less of an authentic vlog to add all that extra layering? Because like when I think of a vlog, I think of, in this day this happened, it's in the time, it's in the order that it happened. And just doing that, like, no, because it's a voiceover, but also...
I mean, you're just continuing, you're having like two timelines go at once, right? You're like having the timeline where like you're checking in for the day, you're talking about like what you want to do, and then you're showing you doing it. So you're like clearly reaffirming that you did follow up on that plan, but it's like you're playing it out and then also like skipping ahead and doing, does that, I hope my like random hand gestures are like making sense. Like you're stacking the timelines.
Absolutely. Yeah, then I say it would still like be vloggy. I do love that idea. I'm still stuck on the fact that this person doesn't want voiceovers.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's so
I mean, like, they want
baffling to me.
voiceovers that like mean something. They don't want like random rambling. I guess that makes sense. I try to like think about a topic or like a theme.
Yeah,
for the
I try
vlogs
to stick to
like,
the point. But I will say, even random rambling, I think for vlogs especially, that's where I want random
Makes
rambling.
sense.
Yeah, that's where I want to be able to connect with you a bit more and hear. Like, if there's ever a time that you go off script, I want it in your vlog, and I want to get to know you a bit more, and I think that's the time and place for that. So, and I think that's a totally valid opinion to have, like, pop off. But that's just a very surprising opinion.
Yeah, okay. Rena Varka, who has been very active in my Discord server, so hi if you're watching this, if I pronounced your username correctly, says, personally, I feel like a lot of art studio vlogs are so samey these days, going back to what we were talking about earlier. Like super highly curated, quote-unquote, aesthetic rooms with lo-fi in the background and a cat that pops in now and again. Wow, I feel very attacked. Or houseplant shots. Oh my god, I feel so attacked. Like, no offense to anyone, but they all just blend in at some point. Relatable.
Absolutely true.
It just feels fake and staged to me. Personally, I'd like it if the rough parts of art process was shown, like redoing or sketching or erasing. I also like knowing a little bit about the person's personal life, like surroundings and going out places.
Yeah, I would agree with all that. I will say one thing that's hard about like the aesthetic bedroom and the plants is like one, especially again with the pandemic, most artists are stuck in their rooms, and like I know that I like my room to be a happy environment, so it is. I like to believe it's an aesthetic room.
I have always been an indoor cat, like my entire life, even before the pandemic. I like to have a really nice apartment, and I like just kind of vibe. That's just me.
Yeah, this is where I spend a lot of my time, so I try to make it look nice. Yeah. And this is also where, and living with my family, I'm not gonna like film out in the rest of my house where my family could be, or I don't want to show like the rest of my house, like that's no one else's business. And so I fully understand what you're saying, but I think one thing is like, and this is also in defense of sameness in vlogs. Like, when you critically think about it, I dislike it too, and I agree with this comment. But, like, when you critically think about it, as someone who makes vlogs, there's not much room. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not, like, I only have this room, and I can go out. I'm not someone, I don't think I will ever be someone who, like, can go out and talk to my camera publicly, so I can get B-roll shots and, like, discreet footage, but I'm not going out to, like, a restaurant and being like, hey, guys, what's up? And I think a lot of artists are introverts and are very similar in that sense. And so I feel good generalizing.
Like,
I would die. So I feel good generalizing that most artists are similar in that sense. And so I think like the thing about studio vlogs is they're going to be samey because we are all living the same life.
Yeah.
We all have house plans and
that's okay. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like some kind of like
we've got to figure something out.
Like aspire to be different. Like show me like a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel that a lot of these comments are very much like in that like the same line of thought as what we've talked about earlier.
Yeah. Which so I think the consensus is if you're saying all those
really
comments
authentic.
are similar is maybe that the consensus is that it's getting stale. Possibly.
Yeah. I definitely would agree with that. Let's talk about suggestions.
Yeah. What can we do to make a good
studio
one?
vlogs a really hard rap, and hopefully if you're watching this and you're interested in making your own studio vlogs, you do have some information to hopefully improve. But let's talk about like specific recommendations of what like we want to do going forward. So I'm really going to try to have more storytelling involved. I've talked about that before, but I really want to have like a little mini character arc in every studio vlog to really like make someone feel like they actually are following along with me on this journey to become the artist that I want to be, and kind of like self-contained little narratives. Like, in that sense, it is very much like making my life into a movie, but it's making my life into a movie that feels authentic and true to my lived experience. So, like, yeah, it is highly produced, aesthetic, but also, like, very much honest. And that's a kind of interesting tightrope to have to walk for me personally. It's like, you really have to fine-tune that balance there. But that's personally where I want to go with my studio vlogs, and like what I would recommend. I like really think that there should be more storytelling, and that you should have like just a narrative overall, like a reason that you wanted to make that video, like a message that you want like the viewer to take home. So that would be one of my biggest overall recommendations.
So I would say, kind of on the flip side to that, being like focusing on not genuine authenticity as if yours isn't, but as in like very raw, like not worrying about like the makeup and all that stuff, and really talking about not necessarily just the struggles that you go through, but I guess like what I'm thinking about for my future studio vlogs is it being more about me as an artist rather than focusing on my art, because a lot of my videos are about art, and so I think taking that time in a studio vlog, like that is the time to get to know me. And so I think I'll putting a lot more about me and my life and what I'm going through, and not necessarily like nitty gritty details, being like overbearing with it, but talking about,
it is a little bit cringy when it gets super personal.
Sometimes. But maybe more behind the scenes stuff and my thought process and doodling and things like that. I think a good balance between art and talking and personal stuff and B-roll and montage, I think is really important to keep in mind. If you're going to brand this as an art vlog or a studio vlog, keeping that art in there is a major part of that. And being willing to, like show your failures like we were talking about, whether that's with art or in your business. Overall, I would say we want that dose of your personality and getting to know you. But I'd say like a good 60% of your vlog should be about art. Yeah. Whether that involves you or not, I wouldn't go at all over 40% of like genuine personal life. That doesn't mean that you can't be in it. Like you can still talk about like what you're going through with art and stuff like that, but I would say like straying farther away from like art, I wouldn't do more than 40% of your vlog.
Like show me you sketching, show me you preparing for the piece, like getting your supplies ready, like all of that stuff is great. Prepping that all contributes to the art. Or like like maintaining your shop, like planning new pieces, getting inspired again, like going outside and like thinking about like what kind of art you want to make in the future, like that all is part of it. But I don't want it to not be about that. I want it to still be like, that's a big part of it, because like art is a huge part of my life. Even when I'm not making art, I'm thinking all the time about making art. Like it's like constantly in my thoughts. So
I would also say another bit of advice is pace yourself with vlogs. You don't need to do them weekly. You don't even need to do them monthly. I think it's a great idea to, especially in the beginning as you're getting used to doing vlogs, do vlogs when you have stuff to make vlogs about. There's a lot of really great like hyper-focused vlogs about people going to their first market or doing their first shop drop. Those are great. Like those are always so entertaining. Those are my favorite kind of vlogs. If you want to do those generalized studio vlogs, like, you know, August studio vlog or whatever, I would say, like, you don't need to do it every time. If you know you're going to have a cool, interesting, busy month, absolutely make a vlog about it. If you know you're going to have a super chill, boring month, maybe don't make a vlog. Or if you do, make a very condensed vlog. It doesn't, you know, you don't have to worry about hitting a time mark. You don't have to worry about doing it every month or every week or whatever. Let yourself, like, if you want to do vlogs, I would not make them the backbone of your channel. I would let yourself experiment with them, be a little bit more fluid with it, be willing to branch out of that vlog label.
And we've talked about in previous episodes how meta art content, like videos about like, you know, how much money you made, or like you're planning your art career, or like, you know, how you designed your prints or whatever, typically perform better and are easier to make. And I think experimenting with both of these formats is a really good recipe for a solid art channel that's both like consistently entertaining and like really feasible and sustainable for you to make as a creator. Those are my 2 cents anyway. But definitely let us know if you've been thinking studio vlogs are stale. We absolutely want to hear from you in the comments. Absolutely. We're invested. Oh, yeah. Like, people have been talking about a lot how, you know, YouTube in general has been a little bit stale, like the Mr. Beastification of the platform, and how like we're constantly having to raise stakes, and I'm really interested in like what you guys think about our YouTube and like the things that you'd like to see more of and what directions you want the community to shift in going forward. So definitely let us know. We know that we've been really terrible about posting on the podcast, and partially it's just because we're cursed. Like we're the worst. I don't know if you guys would really. Yeah, I don't know if you guys really believe us, but we've been having so many technical problems after technical problems.
One after another. It's unreal.
Every time it's something else. It's just something different. So
yeah,
we're going to be looking into like different platforms maybe to record on, just because a lot of it has to do with Riverside.fm, which is what we were used to record. Riverside, if you ever wanted to be useful, roll into our emails.
Yeah.
Maybe you can alleviate our curse. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Feel free to rate us on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Do you have anything else to say?
Nope.
All right. Bye.
Bye.